Good evening. Enviva, the wood pellet production company whose impact on this area will include nearly 100 new full-time jobs for Richmond County citizens, broke ground on their new production plant yesterday. Plus, Raiders head football coach Brian Till is in studio today to talk about the 2017 football season. All this and more on this Tuesday edition of Richmond County's Nightly News. Live at 5 starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Live at 5 now for tonight's top story. National, state, and local officials convened on the site of Enviva's new wood pellet production plant location Monday morning as the company celebrated its presence in Richmond County with a traditional groundbreaking ceremony. Enviva Representative Royal Smith, who spoke in place of an absent Enviva CEO John Kepler, offered the company's thanks to the officials and people of Richmond County, indicating that the construction process is on schedule for a December 2018 opening.
The wood pellet production company has maintained a successful track record in other regions of the state, including Northampton County, located in northeastern part of the state, where the economic impact has been extraordinary and their operations safe and clean for the local environment. Representative Ken Goodman was in attendance and noted, quote, "Building this new facility would not only help our county, but also help American exports as well. The North Carolina General Assembly is more than willing to help however they can with our rural economy to bring in new jobs," end quote.
Other notable attendees included the Congressman Robert Pittenger of the 9th District, the U.S. House of Representatives, Senator Tom McInnes, County Commissioner Chair Kenneth Robinette, and other local officials. Enviva makes its wood pellets using wood that is usually left to rot after loggers clear forests. As a result of Enviva's efforts, waste is reduced and ultimately more trees are planted and harvested. The North Carolina Forestry Service has confirmed that Enviva is doing much more than is required to ensure the sustainability of the environment. For more information, read the entire story on richmondobserver.com or on the RO app.
In other news, Jonathan Lee, Richmond Senior High School athlete, signed a letter of intent to play baseball for UNC Pembroke next fall. And local storytellers J.A. and Azalea Bolton held a book signing at Leith Library on Monday for their most recent release, Just Passing Time Together. And be sure to check out this week's edition of Matter of Opinion, where Richmond Observer's contributor Matt Harrelson discusses fantasy football in his weekly column. All this and more is on today's edition of the Richmond Observer, which you can read on richmondobserver.com and on the RO app for Apple and Android devices.
When we come back, I'll sit down with Richmond Raiders head football coach Brian Till to recap the 2017 football season and talk about what lies ahead for the storied Raider program. All that and more coming up right after this brief message.
At Richmond Community College, we prepare you for a high-skill, high-paying career in a variety of fields. From business to education, engineering, utilities, healthcare, criminal justice, information technology, and human services. At Richmond Community College, we can save you thousands of dollars on tuition through our university transfer programs that provide a seamless transition to universities and colleges throughout North Carolina. At Richmond Community College, we are always developing new courses and programs in response to the communities we serve. We offer day, evening, and online courses, and you can now complete 5 curriculum programs entirely online. At Richmond Community College, we believe in helping you prepare for a better life. Richmond Community College. Local college, big impact.
And joining me now is Richmond Raiders head football coach Brian Till. Brian, great to have you in studio today.
Great to be here. Thank you, Lane.
Well, let's talk about the season. Obviously, a tremendous season for Raider football, a tremendous turnaround season, a much-needed turnaround season to bring back some of those Raider traditions that people know, and you have certainly succeeded in that. Let's talk about what this season meant to you as your first year with the Richmond Raiders program.
Well, it was great to get our feet wet here. Tremendous staff, tremendous group of young men, and great community. A lot of support from our administration in the building, and trying to do some things that we wanted to do, and you know, the guys really responded well. A lot of hard work. Just really impressed with our young men and all the things that we asked them to do and how they continue to tackle task after task each week. And excited about what the future holds after the foundation those guys this year helped us build.
Let's talk about highlight moments this season. I got to be honest. When I moved here, and someone asked me if I'd like to get season tickets, I didn't know football was that big here.
Right.
So, but I was a season ticket holder.
Right.
I will tell you that, and I had a great time.
Sure.
So it's just an unbelievable, rich football program.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the moments that you had this season, some highlight moments that come to mind about this season, and what those moments meant to the success you had this season.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the first game of the year. We traveled to Reagan, and to get the win in the first game that we have there was huge. I mean, I even remember the open kickoff. Jai stand back, runs down. We get a strip and a fumble and open kickoff of the year. I mean, that's just kind of a neat way to start everything going into this season. Then we played Wake Forest, which actually, that's not necessarily highlight the way the game ended up, but it was a good test early on. This is defending state champs. There's 17 of 22 starters. And for us going forward, even into next year, to have that experience, a lot of these guys coming back have that experience and go, all right, that's where we want to be. So it gives us a good idea where we want to be. Getting started off in conference play, and we had only one game rescheduled this year. Was the Pine Forest game. It was on a Monday. Kids overcame some obstacles there for being a Monday. I think it was Labor Day too, and it just, go out and get a big win there, start the conference play, and then end up second in the conference this year. And in order to do that, we had to beat 71st at home the week before we played Scotland. And, we had a kind of a frustrating loss in the experience of Jack Britt. To watch our kids fight back and want to, to get back in and have a chance to win the conference the last week of the season. We scored with 2 minutes left, 84-yard touchdown pass to Jai stand back there in the 71st game near the end. And then to play as well as we did against Scotland, obviously you want to come away with a win. There's no such thing as a moral victory, but given the circumstances of the season, the ups and downs, and the different things going on, and playing a freshman quarterback, and all the different new experienced guys we had in there, guys with very little experience coming in, to have a chance to win the conference at the end of the year says a lot about how far these guys came throughout the course of the year, and just how proud we are of them.
Absolutely. Let's talk about quarterback Caleb Hood, who is a freshman in his first season, and I got to be honest, didn't look like it.
No.
Did not look like it, which is a compliment to him. You've got 3 more years with this young man. That's got to be exciting for you.
It is. It's very exciting. I mean, Caleb also, the development that you've seen, Coach Jones, Coach Denson, our offensive staff in general, all deserve a lot of credit for that. Coach Jones has been working with him. Actually, happened to be working with him at the 8th grade last year at Rockingham Middle, and got a chance to come up. He's our quarterbacks coach. They have a very good rapport with each other. Coach does a great job of organizing and going over specific goals for him position-wise each week, in order to bring him along. And you can really see his development throughout this course of the year. Physically, he never looked like a freshman. But early on, we really kind of scripted his development and what we were allowing him to do. And then, of course, by the end of the year, the Scotland game, you could really see him take the reins of the offense and what he was able to do. Would have liked to have kind of finished the season a little better, obviously, with the playoff, the first round playoff loss. But even there, the thing that you do notice about Caleb, the demeanor that the young man has, even when things are tough, he is able to continue to just, all right, rise to the next challenge, and continue to fight. And that's what we want out of all of our guys, and he does a great job of embodying that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about next season, what your expectations are. I know we're a ways out, obviously, but you seem like the guy who wants to get better and better all the time,
right.
And I like that.
Right.
I know that's the goal for next year. What's the overall goal next year for the Richmond Raider football program?
Well, I think anytime you're at a program like Richmond County, all right, when you're at Richmond Senior High School, your goal every year has to be to win the state championship. I mean, we've won 7 here in the past, and that's the expectation from our community. That needs to be the expectation for our kids and our coaches going forward also. And so that's what we want to be able to vie for a state title. Obviously, we want to win the conference title on the way to that. We have a lot of guys coming back next year, a good core nucleus. We graduated 30 seniors, and a lot of times places you go 30 seniors. A lot of those guys, were still first-year starters as seniors. So we return a very strong, good core group of sophomores, juniors, and even, like I said, the freshmen. And Caleb wasn't the only freshman who ended up playing this year. C.J. Tillman ended up playing some linebacker as a freshman, and even kicking. Trevor Moss came in and kicked, 2 of the last 3 games, and even in 3 of the last 5. as a freshman kicker, and man has a very strong leg. So we have a lot of key pieces coming back, and like we said, Jai Stanback, who's a junior, Bobby Terry, John Jones. Just several guys along the way who are juniors going to be seniors. Several sophomores, and Jarrell White, Jaheim Covington, some of those guys who play key roles for us. And then a lot of talent coming up from an undefeated JV squad where Coach Pat Hope has done a great job there.
It certainly is a lot of talent coming up. A bright future for the Richmond Raider football program. A couple more questions. Sure. Let's talk about your leadership. You may not say this, but there's no doubt from the outside looking in that the leadership has played an integral role in the successes that this program has had this season. And I'd also think there's no doubt that, and I think most of our viewers would agree, that was needed. Let's talk about your leadership and how you think. And I know it's hard for you because you're complimentary of everybody else, maybe not so much of yourself, but help us identify what some leadership style that you've used to turn this thing around like you have.
Well, I think the big thing for me as a leader is trying to, like you said, I mean, trying to put people in place and believe in people and, work with their strengths. I think we have a tremendous coaching staff, and just trying to continually push those guys to be at their best, but also give them what they need to be at their best. As the head football coach, the good thing and the bad thing is, you don't, and you get into coaching because of your relationships with the kids and because what you like to see them foster. But as you become a head coach, that becomes more about relationships with those coaches. You still have to push those kids, but really it's more about relationships with those coaches and what they're able to do. And I really hope that, believing in those guys, showing me believe in them, giving them opportunities to do things is really what I try and do. And, believing in our community. I think that, for a while there was an expectation to win here and guys wanting to win, there was a belief from folks from the outside and even folks some in the community going, well, it's not what it used to be. And I think coming in and just believing in this community again, which I do wholeheartedly, and that's not a cliche, it's not a line, it's not, I come here and I know this place is very special, and I know that, believing in this community is the thing that I hope that everyone can see, is that we're not just going to talk about state championships, we're going to really truly believe that we can achieve that here.
Well, and if you don't believe that, you should have been out there this season, because it was a clear indication that the future is bright for the Richmond Raiders program under the leadership of Brian Till. And, of course, we're glad to have you in studio today.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here. Thank you, Lance.
Folks, head coach Brian Till joining us in studio. We will be right back for more Live at 5 news, weather, and sports right after this.
I'm Kelly. I worked at Champion Ford for 2 years.
6 years.
3 years.
1 year.
I've been at Champion Ford for 13 years.
1 whole year. 15 years.
I'm Jamie, and I've been at Champion Ford for 12 years.
I've been here 8 years.
Champion prices, champion service, champion experience.
Get treated like a champion today at Champion Ford. Just down the road from our prices, championfordlincoln.com.
We are Champion Ford.
Family Pharmacy has been serving Richmond County since April 2007, and we have enjoyed getting to know our customers since then. We take our jobs very seriously, and will do whatever we can to make sure you have what you need. Come visit us on Fayetteville Road in Rockingham, and we will treat you like family.
With hospice, you guys just outdo yourselves every day. And I really appreciate it. I honest to God don't know what I would do if it weren't for you. The things that you do, I'm in approval of. And thank you. I don't know what else to say other than thank you.
Willow Tree Antiques and Gifts is all about rustic home decor and gifts. You will always find a variety of unique antiques, vintage, and new items in our shop. Come and see our selection of housewarming, new baby, and wedding gifts. For the man in your life, we have many collectibles, Boker knives, and leather. And ladies love the jewelry, purses, candles, hats, and t-shirts. We also offer a 30-day layaway program. Come and experience shopping at Willow Tree Antiques and Gifts.
And welcome back to Live at 5. And, of course, we've got our usual Tuesday guest, executive producer, and also college football and NASCAR analyst, Russell Parker, who I'm not sure who did his wardrobe for him, but what were they thinking?
Well, I know that they were thinking about Alabama being on top this week.
Oh,
as they
okay.
survive the top 4 mess. It was so crazy this past Saturday.
It was
Notre
pretty
Dame
crazy.
falls
Yep.
flat to Miami, and a huge upset with Georgia losing to the other team from Alabama.
Auburn.
Yeah, that's
the real team.
I don't know
War
about
Eagle.
that.
So let's talk about Alabama. You know, first off, they were down 24-17 in the final 8 minutes of their game against Mississippi State, and on the road.
Yeah.
And they got the job done against the Bulldogs. I mean, what does this tell you about Alabama?
I think it shows that they're very resilient and that they can come back from a game that they're losing and win it. They don't show any sign of giving up. Despite all the injuries that they've had this season, both on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, they can make it happen. And I think that's not being biased there, but I think that shows that they're a good championship contender this season for sure.
Well, let's take a look at your picks last week. Of course, Alabama wasn't in there, but North Carolina State, you see it on the screen. North Carolina State it did get the job done against Boston College. You and Kelsey got that one right. Florida State and Clemson, you got that one right. Clemson got the job done at home. Duke and Army, you got the pick there. Army wins. Yeah. Duke, of course, Kelsey's trying to support the hometown crowd, but unfortunately Duke hadn't won a game in a long time. And then UNC obviously got the job done against Pitt.
Obviously.
And see, the thing is, you know, first off, I got big beef with Carolina over this. Okay. You know how Carolina got out all those allegations, right?
Yeah.
In basketball.
Oh, yeah.
They said, the NCAA sat them down and said, all right, here's the deal, okay? If you will not win another football game the rest of the season, we'll let you off on the basketball. And they said, all right, well, we're not going to win anyway, so that's fine. And then y'all go out last Thursday and beat Pitt. I think that's a violation.
Yeah. It surprised me that they won by, like, what, 3 points, I think it was?
Yeah, I mean, the Tar Heels winning a football game is an unusual thing this day and age. But nonetheless, they did. They beat Pitt. And, of course, Florida and South Carolina. Florida's a terrible team right now.
Yeah, and Jim McElwain got fired a few weeks ago.
That's right.
From University of Florida, and I think that really hurt the team overall from that. I think it's just made it worse for them.
Yeah.
Because their players don't have someone to lead them on throughout the rest of the season. And I'm not a fan of firing head coaches halfway through a season. Yeah. I know Butch Jones from Tennessee's got fired this week. Saturday.
Yeah, this past week. And, of course, that's a mess in Tennessee as well. So let's talk about it this week, and then we'll get to our college football playoff picks. North Carolina State still ranked. They're on the road in Winston-Salem this week taking on Wake Forest. Who do you got winning this game?
NC State. I think they're going to win
this
one
here.
That's
a good pick. I like you. I like you, Russell.
I think that they're going to get the job done down there.
Yeah, I think State's going to get the job done this week too. North Carolina State is they're getting better. Their only 2 losses were to teams who were ranked in the top 4 in the nation at the time they played them. Excuse me, they're 2 of their 3 losses rather. They did lose to South Carolina at the start of the season.
And you know what? Ever since I've been here, I've been around you and Kenny. I've actually kind of starting to slow like NC State a little bit.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, maybe you'll come around. It's always hope. And then let's talk about Georgia Tech and Duke. I mean, Duke just struggling.
Yes,
Georgia Tech, on the other hand, beat a 17th-ranked Virginia Tech last week. Do the Yellow Jackets get the job done here?
I think they do. Then they're going to walk into Durham and walk back out the winner.
I got to agree with you. I think Georgia Tech gets it done. Duke, I don't know what's going on there. Start the season 4-0.
They started off very strong.
They did, yeah. Of course, their last win was against Carolina, and they have struggled.
That's what it was. They played Carolina, and it's going downhill.
And Carolina's just negative. It's a negative thing. Michigan and Wisconsin, perhaps one of the biggest games of the college football week. Wisconsin undefeated on the season. Michigan going into Madison to take on a Badger team that's undefeated. Michigan, on the other hand, 2 losses. Does Jim Harbaugh and crew get the job done in the Big Ten this week?
I don't think so. I think Wisconsin will walk out there the winner, and I think they may even finish the rest of the season undefeated. I'm also Hufflepuff and Harry Potter world. So the Badgers are playing, Hufflepuff's the Badgers, so I'm going to stick with my Badgers here.
Well, we shall see. I've got the Badgers winning this game, too. I think
All right.
Wisconsin's a better team than we think they are. Virginia and Miami. Miami hosting Virginia this upcoming week. I think that's right.
Yep.
Is that right? Yep, man. Of course, Miami ranked number 2 in the country according to the AP poll. College football playoff rankings are coming out tonight, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment. Does Miami continue the streak here, or are they overlooking this one?
I think Miami's going to flat out beat Virginia this week.
Bad.
Yes.
The Hurricanes, the U is back, folks. Mark and Rick doing a great job. in Southern Florida. I got Miami winning this game as well. And of course, UCF, an undefeated team in a non-Power 5 conference. Let's talk about them a minute. They're going on the road. They take on Temple in Pennsylvania this upcoming weekend. Does UCF keep the streak alive, or is this a sleeper?
So. I think they're going to continue on their dominance. They usually have a good season almost every season. And I know I'm pretty sure they played East Carolina a couple of weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah, and of course that's an easy win right there.
Yeah, ECU has not been having a great season at all this year.
Struggling.
But UCF, not a lot of exposure from the media to them, and I think being ranked 14th, undefeated, I think that's really good, and they deserve a little recognition there. But I do believe they're going to win it and get it done at Temple.
I got UCF winning this game as well. I think, did we not agree on it? We agreed on every game this week.
I think so.
Well, obviously I can't pick. When I pick against him, it doesn't go well. So I just figured if you can't beat them, join them. So I'm joining Russell this week. Our picks are the same. We'll see how we do next week. Be sure to check out our picks and results next Tuesday's episode of Live at 5. Epedition, that's a pretty good word. Word of the day right there. So let's talk about the college football playoffs and and I'm going to make my picks. You're going to make your picks. How you want to do this? You want to go from 1 to 6 or 6 to 1?
How about we do it from? Let's do it from 1 to 6.
All right.
I want to say the last one, number 6.
All right.
I want to say it one time.
So college football, of course, college football playoff picks come out tonight, and let's talk about who's going to win. First off, who's going to finish number 1, or who's going to be number 1 in your pick if the playoffs started today?
Definitely Alabama. They they survived this past week against a really good Mississippi State team. Notre Dame falls big time in Miami, as well as Georgia losing the other team out there from Alabama, and which is Auburn. I didn't want to say that, but I did.
Yeah.
But,
so you got Alabama number 1.
I got Alabama number 1. Yep.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Alabama number 1 here. And who's your number 2 team?
It's going to be Miami.
I agree.
Undefeated. They got a strong showing this year. They've beaten quite a few not undefeated, but ranked teams who are also on the ACC. And I think they got a good showing this year, and I think they could put up a good fight in the playoffs.
We're on the same page so far. That's my number 1 and my number 2. Who's your number 3 team?
I'm going to go Oklahoma on this one.
Ooh, we're going to disagree here.
They defeated TCU, who was in the top 6 last week in the playoff committee, and I think Oklahoma's got a strong showing this season as well.
I'm going to actually go with Wisconsin here. I think Wisconsin's a better team. They're going to show that this week, I think, when they play Michigan, the number 19th ranked team in the country. The Big Ten is not the conference that the SEC is. There's no doubt about that. But is Wisconsin a great team? It's still tough this day and age to go 9-0. Now, I'd put Clemson here, but Clemson's got a loss on their record, and it's to a weak Syracuse team.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting Clemson in number 3 slot. I got Wisconsin. So we'll see how this goes. Keep going.
Well, mention Clemson, saying you're not going to put them at 3rd, but I'm going to put them at 4th.
Okay.
I think that they still have, because they're going to, I know that if we're talking about the playoffs starting today, but I think they're going to, if they were to go against number 3 Oklahoma, or excuse me, they play against Alabama if they were number 4.
They would play Alabama.
And I would like to personally see a rematch between those two.
For the 3rd year in a row. This time, though, it would be in the first round of the college football playoffs rather than the championship game. So right now, as it stands, you would have Alabama playing Clemson, and you'd have Oklahoma playing Miami.
Yep.
So I'd have Miami playing Wisconsin. I'm going to say that Clemson goes in a number 4 spot. I would have Alabama playing Clemson as well. So we agree on everything so far, rather than that 3rd spot. I'd have Alabama playing Clemson, and I've got Miami playing Wisconsin. Who's your bottom 2?
My first one, number 5, is Wisconsin. With that said, I said that I believe they'll go on the rest of the season undefeated. However, I don't think they're going to be playing that many strong teams as it goes along through the Big Ten. Yeah. That's just, but number 6. I'll let you get yours.
Yeah, my number 5 is going to be Oklahoma. I think that Oklahoma, with their 1 loss, still a strong team. But if everything stayed the same today, I have a hard time. Wisconsin isn't a Power 5 conference. They are undefeated. I'd have a hard time putting them on the outside looking in with Oklahoma in rather than Wisconsin. Number 6, who you got there?
I'm going to say it one time, so listen very closely. Auburn.
I agree with you, actually. I think Auburn is in this spot. Big win against Georgia this past week. I mean, and how the mighty have fallen. I mean, Georgia falls from number 1, not even in our discussion for the top 6, and they're only a 1-loss team.
Now, I read a stat yesterday. Out of the times that both Auburn and Georgia was ranked in the top 10, out of the 4 times they played each other in that type of meet, Auburn has beaten them every time.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a stat there for you to think about. And usually Auburn thinks they got this chip on their shoulder when they come into play against us that they beat Georgia. And there's actually, the way it's looking right now with the way the playoffs are, it's almost like the SEC and the ACC championship games are going to be like an extension to the playoffs.
It really is.
Essentially, either one of those champions will go into the playoffs. And
Certainly.
with the Iron Bowl coming up in 2 weeks, I think Alabama and Auburn is almost another extension into that playoff.
Well, there's no doubt that whoever wins the SEC title game, whoever wins the ACC title game, they are in my mind. There's no way. I think they're the 2 strongest football conferences right now, and we can argue about which is better, but I think they are 2 strong conferences. If you win that, and with the ACC championship, a sure bet for Clemson to play Miami.
Yep.
You've got to think that both of those were in our top 4. Certainly one's going to stay. Perhaps 2, and that could also happen in the SEC. I mean, if Georgia doesn't lose another game and they beat Alabama, do you then put Georgia into the equation?
I think if Georgia was to win the SEC championship, they will get back into the playoffs. Hence, I also think Auburn, a 2-loss team, if they beat Alabama, which that won't happen, and they play Georgia and win, I think they'll be the first 2-loss team in the playoffs to make it into the playoffs.
Well, and that is possible. I mean, we've got them on the outside looking in. If they beat Alabama and
not going to happen though.
Hold on, let's just say that if they beat Alabama, number 1 team, and then they beat Georgia, who didn't lose another game, maybe in contention a couple weeks here in the top 4 spot again. They beat Alabama and Georgia in a 3-week time span. No, a 2-week time span, because they will have literally played the following week. They'll play in the SEC title game. It's hard for me to not look at Auburn as a real contender. I mean, and how can you put Auburn outside of the top 4 if they win the SEC title, but put Alabama in?
Yeah, it would be insane. Well, I think Alabama is going to beat them in 2 weeks.
I think you're biased.
At this point. No, of course not.
I think you're right, though. I think Alabama is not going to be beaten in my mind.
Right.
Of course, they are playing at Auburn. Is that right?
Yeah, they'll be at Auburn.
Yeah, that's perfect. This is great.
And this week they'll be playing Mercer at home, which this week is always considered the cupcake week, because usually the FBS teams will play the FCS schools. And so
next week is Iron Bowl. Is that right? Yeah. So just like Alabama to play a team like Mercer right before Auburn. But
well, who is NC State playing?
Hold on.
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is a good team. We're talking about Mercer here. I mean, Mercer, folks. Well,
Clemson's playing the Citadel. Who was that?
Same way. I mean, and of course, most people would say they're playing their big teams early on, you know, and I can go along with that. You know, Clemson and Alabama usually have the big games week 1 or week 2, where everybody else playing cupcakes.
Right.
So I won't get you on that. Let's talk about NASCAR now. This is it right here, the championship.
This is it. 1 race to go.
1 race to go. The leader in points by the end of this race.
Well, there's no point available anymore. The first one out of the 4 to finish ahead is the champion.
Period. So is that going to be Kyle Busch?
You know, I think he may have a good chance at it, considering he has won at this track a few years ago and won a championship then. But I think there's a fire in Martin Truex Jr. that says he's going to go out there and win it.
He's kind of been my favorite the whole time. Not necessarily my personal favorite, but I've kind of saw that he's had this fire about him the whole year that has really seemed like it's championship worthy. So if I had to use my head, I'd say Martin Truex Jr. But everybody hates Kyle Busch. Why is that?
I think it's his attitude. And we've actually had a discussion on the first time I was on here.
That's right.
Yeah, it was. I just think it's his attitude. If he would drop his attitude, he's a great driver, but his personality, I just can't get behind that well.
Well, I'm not gonna say Truex wins this one. I'm gonna say Kyle Busch. We'll see what happens.
Well, if I were to use my heart on this one, it'd be Brad Keselowski winning that championship.
Yeah, well,
his
we'll
number
see.
2.
That could happen.
Number 2.
That could happen. And of course, the Xfinity Series playoffs coming up, Championship 4.
Same situation.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
First one wins that one. And William Byron, Elliott Sauer, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick, a lot of his drivers are Junior Motorsport drivers. So I think there's no doubt that Junior Motorsports is getting a championship this season.
Yeah.
But I think William Byron's going to be the one who holds that one Saturday.
I got Elliott Sadler. And the reason I say that is because Sadler is from close to where I'm from. Kind of Emporia, Southeast Virginia area. And of course, Sadler family, big prominent family up there. I'm going to go with Elliott Sadler winning this. Would love to see that. All right, and also the Truck Series playoffs coming up this weekend as well. Who you got winning this one?
I would like to say Austin Cindric because he's actually my favorite in the Truck Series, but I think Johnny Sauer's going to go back-to-back this season.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm going to agree with you there. I think that could happen. All right, folks, and that is it right there.
Yeah.
We've had a long discussion today on sports.
Oh, yeah.
And we agreed on almost everything.
Yeah, it's what's going on in the world today?
Well, I will say the only thing we don't agree on is his attire today. I'm not sure what's up with that, but evidently he likes Alabama. I don't know if it's obvious.
I've also got a shirt underneath here that says we got 16. 16-time national champion.
16-time national champion. And folks, state fans like me, we're still talking about 1983. Well, folks, Russell Parker, executive producer and college football NASCAR analyst, certainly glad to have you behind the desk today. Folks, we will be right back for weather coming up right after this message.
McNair Auto Sales is the place to buy your pre-owned car, truck, or van. To be the best, it takes big selection, friendly staff, and great pricing. We guarantee a no-hassle buying experience, and financing is available right on site. So come see us today. We're located at 1026 East Broad Avenue in Rockingham. And remember, with over 40 years of experience, you know McNair is the name you can trust.
Welcome back to Live at 5. Today's 3-day weather forecast is brought to you by Harrington Funeral Home. As you can see from office cam, it's about in the 50s right now and it's cold outside, but luckily there's no rain. Moving on from that is the 3-day weather forecast, where Wednesday will be partly cloudy with a high set 59 and a low of 37. Thursday will be sunny with a high of 68 and a low of 36. Friday will be sunny as well with a high of 58 and a low of 39. But despite that, let's go back to News Desk to wrap up today's episode.
And that's a wrap for another Tuesday edition of Live at 5. Haley, we don't get to do the show together much.
We don't. It's
Why
a shame.
is that?
I don't know. I guess it just doesn't work out.
Whoever makes the schedule should really
Somebody should really talk to that person.
I agree,
they really
100%.
should.
I'm not sure what the deal is there, but it was a pleasure.
It was.
It was very
wonderful
much a
as
pleasure.
always.
Well, great. And of course, remember, you can watch this show. You can watch every episode Haley's on, and every episode I'm on, every episode all the anchors are on demand anytime on the official Richmond Observer app available for iPhone and Android devices.
Yes, and it's really neat because on that app, you know, now we have all those coupons that you can get
Yeah,
for
that's
local
right.
businesses and more. And in fact, Family Pharmacy is offering a 50% off store brand items on Tuesdays.
Oh, wow.
I know, that's really a good thing right
That's a
there.
pretty good deal. That's just one of the coupons.
Yep, just one of them. That's just one we're mentioning. So make sure you download it and find all the ways that you can save on businesses throughout Richmond County.
So folks, that's it. We appreciate you joining us. Join us tomorrow night for another edition of Live at 5. We'll have our Athlete of the Week feature. Noah Altman going to be the Athlete of the Week tomorrow. Have him in studio. Looking forward to that. I'm Lance Jenkins.
And I'm Haley Gordon.
And we'll see you tomorrow night for another edition of Live at 5. So long.
Good night, Richmond County.